I Am My Mother Lawyer Part 2. What David uncovered next left the entire courtroom in shock. Ms. Janet, while well-meaning, simply does not have the resources to provide the educational and social opportunities that a gifted child like David deserves. Interesting, David muttered, opening his notebook again. Genuine concern. He flipped through a few scribbled pages. Your Honor, may I share some facts about this genuine concern? Judge Harrison, who had presided over hundreds of custody cases, had never seen a situation like this. On the one hand, he had strict protocols to follow. On the other hand, this child displayed an articulation and preparation that surpassed many adults. David, Janet said softly, maybe we should let the lawyers— What lawyers, Mom? David interrupted her gently. We can't afford to hire Dr. Michael or his colleagues, so either I speak for us or no one speaks. John Peter finally found his voice. David's son, I know this situation is confusing for you, but don't call me son. The words came out with a coldness that made several adults in the room shiver. In the last 9 years of my life, you've shown up exactly 4 times, 2 on birthdays, always 3 weeks late, 1 at Christmas when you had 20 minutes free between social engagements, and 1 when the local press did a story on philanthropic entrepreneurs and you needed a photo with a child. The silence that followed was deafening. Peter opened his mouth to protest, but David continued. The last time we saw each other, 6 months ago, you spent 15 minutes in our apartment, just long enough to criticize our furniture, complain about the medicine smell my mother brings home from a hospital, and suggest that I might have potential if I received a proper education. David adjusted his glasses. Interestingly, 2 weeks after that, you filed for custody. Dr. Michael whispered something urgent to Peter, but the boy wasn't finished. Your Honor, I've done some research on my biological father. I discovered that he recently lost a very expensive lawsuit against his business partners. If this story of courage and intelligence is touching your heart, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, because what David was about to reveal would change not only his life, but the way the justice system views the voice of children forever. I discovered that his 3rd wife has filed for a contested divorce. And I discovered something very interesting about a trust fund established by my late paternal grandmother. John Peter's face went from pink to white in a matter of seconds. How on earth had this boy uncovered information that not all of his lawyers knew about? David turned a page in his notebook and smiled for the first time since entering the courtroom. It wasn't the innocent smile of a child. It was the smile of someone who was holding winning cards and was ready to play them. But before we talk about inheritances and financial motives, David said, closing his notebook again, how about we discuss why a man who never showed any genuine interest in being a father suddenly developed such a strong paternal instinct? John Peter was visibly sweating now, and his expensive lawyers looked completely lost. None of them had prepared to face a child who apparently knew more about their client's financial situation than they did. What exactly had this 9-year-old boy discovered during his afternoons at the library? And how had a child managed to gather information that adults with unlimited resources did not have? Judge Harrison leaned forward. His judicial curiosity clearly piqued. In 30 years on the bench, he had never seen such an articulate child in his courtroom. David, you mentioned evidence. What kind of evidence could a 9-year-old have gathered? David adjusted his glasses again, a gesture that was becoming his trademark in that courtroom. Your Honor, for the past 3 months since I learned of this lawsuit, I have devoted every Tuesday and Thursday afternoon to researching at the Central Public Library. Researching what? Dr. Michael interrupted condescendingly. Public records, newspaper archives, available corporate documents, Mr. Peter's previous court cases. David opened a new section of his notebook. The head librarian, Ms. Joy, has a master's degree in information science. If you've watched and listened to this story to this point, kindly comment part 3 for a continuation, like and follow the page for more.